Golazo Team 2 is here, which means we will be ranking every Golazo Team 1 and Team 2 card in FC24. Now, some cards have two versions, a higher rated version, like this collar's got a 92, and he's also got a lower rated version, a 90 rated collar. So for the sake of the tier list, what we're going to be doing is only using the highest rated card, okay? I know Saeed Al-Owaran has got a 93 in packs, and he's also got a 90 rated SBC. The reason we're not doing the lower rated players as well is because every single time I'll just be putting them in one tier below their higher rated card anyway, so just keep that in mind. For cheap, fast and reliable coins, make sure to head on over to MMOEXP.com and use my code Davis at checkout for 5% off your order. Coins are incredibly cheap right now and the links are in the description. First up, we have got Campbell. He's got the Bruiser and I believe the Aerial Playstyle Plus coming in at just over 300,000 coins. I don't think this card looks bad whatsoever. He's obviously not S tier. I don't think I'll be putting him into the A tier. I think I'll put him into the B tier. He's a respectable card. He's a good card. Not too expensive. Can get some nice links. You cannot complain. I've always been a fan of Campbell on FIFAs. Now, we have got the 91 rated Van Persie. He does have an 89 rated via objectives as well for free. I'm not sure if he is still available or if he expired as the most recent Xabi Alonso objectives came out. He'd be okay. I believe he's pretty cheap. He's only around 90,000 coins. But the amount of good strikers in this game that you can get, there are a lot of them. And comparing to other players around the 90,000 coin mark, I think there's a few better players that you can get. So for that, we're going to put him into the C tier. Cantona has gotten himself an SBC, about 1.3 million coins. The one thing that is so annoying with this card is he does not have the chip shot, or he does have the chip shot playstyle plus, sorry. It's not a bad playstyle plus to have, but it's not a desirable one. And when you're coming up against attackers that have got technicals, finesses, even aerial power header for the taller strikers, very, very good. And he's got the chip shot. And it's just, you know, it's underwhelming. I've got João Felix Showdown and a chip shot with him. I mean, like, yeah, you score a couple chips, but really, your opponent's not going to be bringing the keeper out too much. So if he had better playstyles, a better playstyle plus, I should say, than a chip, I'd probably be debating to put him into an S. We're going to put him into A. He's expensive, but he looks a banging card, and he will be insane in game. It's King Cantona. Frank Lampard, he's about 150k. He doesn't look bad. He's got some pretty nice stats. But the thing is, though, I don't know if I'd put him into the same tier as Campbell. It's either low tier B or high tier C. I think we'll put him into the high tier C, above Van Persie. I don't know, it's close. He's better Van Persie, not as good as Campbell, I reckon, for their respective position. So I'll have him in the middle of them. We'll go for high tier C for now. Ashley Cole, we will put alongside at Campbell. I think he's actually a similar price. Don't worry, I'm not just looking at the prices and deciding to put them in the tiers based on their prices, but obviously the price is a great indicator on how rare the cards are and obviously how good they perform in game and how quote-unquote meta they are. But Ashley Cole, I haven't actually used too much of his cards this year. I used his regular card for like 5 or 10 games before putting him into an SBC. That was towards the beginning of the game and I didn't hate him whatsoever. I believe, I can't remember what, I swear he's had another promo card as well. Was it Centurions? I could be completely wrong, but I didn't mind that when I used it in foot draft. It was a 90 rated Ashley Cole anyway. So I'm sure this 92 will be good, but I'm not going to be saying he's an S tier or an A tier card, so we'll slot him quite nicely into the B tier. Kaká, on the other hand, he is going just ahead of Cantona. Maybe even debating an S tier for Kaká, but I want to reserve the S tier for like a special 2 or 3 players. So we'll have him at the very top of the A tier. Kaká, special on this game. Roberto Carlos for me is going into the A tier as well. Personally, I'm a little bit annoyed. I've got his 92 future stars. I did his SBC, I mean, it's been a few weeks, and now he gets a new 93 rated. But his 92 card is phenomenal. His 93 will be even better. Vidic, I think, will also go into the A tier. We yet to have an S tier player, but you'll see a couple players that will be added to the S tier. And I mean, speaking of which, Jarzinho is going to be the first player that I will be ranking as an S tier card. I believe he's 4 million coins on the market, so his price is most definitely reflecting how good Jarzinho is in game. I used his 89 rated as regular icon. I got him earlier this year and he's fantastic. He's agile, his body type, he's got the afro trait as well, the 5-star skills, the left stick dribbling with him is silky silky, and he is going to be the first player that we put into the S tier. Xabi Alonso's 93 is coming in at 600,000 coins. Of course, you can get his 89 rated, or it might be 90 rated, via objectives as well for free. Now, we will be putting this 93 Xabi Alonso. We're going to put him into the B tier. I think that's pretty fitting. So far, I'm really happy with this list. You've got the A tier, the above average good players. You've got the solid players, the C, the okay-ish, and then obviously the S tier reserved for the proper S. So far, this tier list for me is looking bang on. Next up is Prinz. Now, I'm not going to put her into the D tier. We're going to put her at the lower end of S. I think it's pretty hard to have a D tier card these days because every single card that is being released by EA is just insane because it kind of has to be to keep up with the power curve. There will be people that will get good use out of Prinz. She's incredibly cheap, I believe minimum price. She's got some incredible shooting stats, and I believe if you go for an injured and chemistry style on her, 5 of her 6 stats are 90 plus, except for defending, which doesn't matter. So all 5 of her important stats for an attacker are 90 plus. And I mean, some people won't like it because maybe she's a little bit heavy, she's not the most agile, her left stick dribbling, but there'll be people that will get a use out of her, so we're not going to put her into the D tier, we're going to put her into the lower end of the C. Didier Drogba. Now, this is tricky. This is it's another situation of kind of like, I think he's better than the players in the B tier, but I don't think he's better than the players in the A tier. So I think it's acceptable if I put him in either high tier B or low tier A. We'll put him into the high tier B. We may change that later on. We'll see how the rest of it pans out. But it's kind of like, once again, that awkward position of in between A and B. Bobby Charlton for me is going into the A tier. I wish he had the finesse shot playstyle plus, but nonetheless, he's still an A tier card. 96 Puskas going into the top of the S tier. Actually, we'll put him just behind Jarzinho. As good as Puskas is, I don't know if it'd be better than Jarzinho. Nonetheless, for 2 S tier cards. And yeah, Puskas is Puskas. You look at his stats, and it's just like, wow, fair enough, man. This is a card that will last you up until TOTS and throughout Team of the Season. This is an in-game card. Now, when we're rating players, we're kind of doing it on their respective position, right? So for Cafu, he's the only right back on this list, and for me, he's the best right back in the game, right? He's the best right back in the whole entire game. Therefore, I think we have to put him into the S. He's literally the best right back that you can possibly get. I mean, maybe you could make a debate for Team of the Year Frimpong, but by different type of players, I'd much rather Cafu if you play with your fullbacks more defensively. Frimpong is an overlapping fullback or a right mid, right wing back, whatever is obviously clear. But nonetheless, he's definitely top 2. It's literally between Cafu or Frimpong, and by different fullbacks depending on your play style. So I think it's pretty fair that we slot him into the S tier. We've actually done all icons so far, so now we're moving on to some heroes, and we have got 88 rated Peter Crouch. Now, I am going to put him into the B tier, and you might look at his stats and be like, wow, this card doesn't look that great, but it's a fact he's 6'7" with the power header playstyle plus. If you've got some wingers, if you've got fullbacks, players for that matter, with whipped cross in your team, get it to Peter Crouch's head, and yeah, I mean, fair enough. I think he's expired now, you can't get him, but he was free, just had to score 10 goals in the cup game mode. He may not look the most pretty, but he is meta, he will score goals as jammy as they may be, so he will slot into the B tier, and for a free card, you really cannot complain. Marquez as well, I am going to be putting into the B tier. I'm going to slot him in just over Ashley Cole, I reckon. Now, obviously, there is an evolution that was available where you could make your Marquez, your Peter Crouch, you could give them +1s. That is no longer here, but if you did do that on Marquez, then even better. I think he's pretty safe in the B tier. And yeah, I'm still happy so far. I don't see any players that are looking out of place as of yet. Okocha, I am going to be putting into the B tier, the higher end of the B tier. I'll put him below Drogba, maybe below Xabi Alonso as well. I think that's fair. Johan Cruyff, obviously we're putting him into the S tier, the very top of the S tier. That's obvious. I don't think I really have to explain myself for that one. Rosicky, his 92 rated. Of course, he also has a 90 rated. As an Arsenal fan, I would love to say he's an A tier, he's a B tier, he looks really good. But he just doesn't look, for the cards that we're getting right now, he's not going to be game breaking. Team of the Season is in a few weeks ago. He looks fun if you're an Arsenal fan like myself, but for me, he's not much more than just a C tier card. 92 rated Collar. Now, I made his 90 rated card at 91 with the evolution, and he was fantastic, and his 92 would only be better. So we're going to be putting him into the B tier, and we'll put him just behind Didier Drogba, and we'll put him behind Xabi Alonso as well. Clint Dempsey is going into the C tier. We'll actually put him at the lower end of the C tier. He's only 20,000 coins, so he's incredibly cheap. I just think there's so many players and wingers in the game now that look just as good as Dempsey for the exact same price, so he is nothing special. Another player that also fit that evolution, and you could make him a 90 rated, then you could probably put him into the higher end of the C tier or in the B tier, along with the likes of Ashley Cole, Campbell, Marquez, so on and so forth. Park Ji-sung, honestly, he looks really good. He does look really good, and I'll have to be honest, I don't think I've actually used a Park Ji-sung card this year. I think the fantasy cards were last year, weren't they? Yeah, the fantasy foot Park Ji-sung, that was last year. I'm getting my FIFAs mixed up now. I've actually not used a card of Park Ji-sung this year, but going off of how he looks, I mean, he looks fantastic. 400k, I believe he is. We'll put him at the highest end of B. I'm happy with putting him at the higher end of B. Another case of he doesn't look better than the players in the A tier, but I'd much rather take a Park Ji-sung over a Didier Drogba or a Xabi Alonso. Harry Kewell, I don't mind the looks of his Harry Kewell card. If you are an Australian, most definitely a player that you will be wanting to try and get into your team because he looks a lot of fun. I'll be slotting him in to the B tier. Yeah, we'll put him into the B tier ahead of Ashley Cole and Sol Campbell. Ginola is going into the S tier. I'd have him maybe just behind Puskas. I like the order of the S tier so far. Obviously, Cafu is in there, that's fair. Ginola is obviously Ginola. I think the only debatable is between Jarzinho and Puskas. You could definitely switch them around, but so far I'm very happy with the order of the S tier. 93 Saeed Al Owaran coming in at 1.1 million coins. He's got a 90 rated SBC available for, I believe, 700,000 coins. He is going to the top of the A tier. If you guys played last FIFA during FIFA 23, you will know how annoying the Saeed Al Owaran card was, and he's back, and he's just as good. I've played him several times, and I have suffered several times. Don't think I'll quite put him into the S tier, but he's very comfortable sitting at the top of that A tier right there. This Viali card for me looks very underrated. 4-star skills with a 5-star weak foot for the small price of only 65,000 coins. I think he's better than the C tier, so we're going to be putting him into the B tier, and we'll put him just behind Kewell, I reckon. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Francescoli as well, 80,000 coins being his minimum price, so you can pick him up, and at worst case, if you don't like him, list him up again and he'll probably sell. You'll only lose 4,000 coins on tax. In fact, I featured him in my best players under 100,000 coins video. I think he looks really good, very cheap price. Do I put him at the higher end of C or the lower end of B though? That is the issue. I mean, face stats he's better than Peter Crouch, but he's not 6'7" with a power header like Peter Crouch. So I'll put him at the higher end of C right now. But I will say he looks really good value and is one of the best value cards in the game. Cordoba. Now, I've never been a fan of using short centre backs, but many people say they don't mind whatsoever. So I think this simply just comes down to personal preference. He is only 5'8" tall, which I believe in centimeters it'd be 172, 173 centimeters if you guys use centimeters for your height. But so he's not the tallest whatsoever for a centre back. If you were to use him as a centre back, you need another centre back next to him that is 6'2", 6'3", even 6'4" plus, just to make up for his aerial weakness. Because if you've got him and another centre back about 5'10", 5'11", then you will be in trouble. If you face an Erling Haaland, you may as well forfeit the match. But of course, if you pair him up with a taller centre back, then this card will be fantastic. He's coming in at about 700k. He's got the intercept playstyle plus. I think he looks fantastic. It's just for height, so it really comes down to personal preference. But you pair him with a taller centre back, and I'm happy to put him into the B tier, and we'll put him in over Didier Drogba. If you really rely on height with your centre backs, if you play a quote-unquote defensive game, then yeah, you will probably struggle with him. Last but not least is 93 Berbatov. I have vouched for this card so much. He featured in my best value attackers video, and I have vouched for him. Whenever someone asks me on Twitch, who do you think's worth it? I'm always going to reply 93 Berbatov. 150k, you're getting a card that can compete with the best of the very best. For me, lads, he is going to be going into the A tier, and we're going to put him in we'll put him in over Roberto Carlos. So this is my final tier list, boys. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to mix some of the players up a little bit to make sure the order is to my satisfaction. There we are. I think I'm happy with that, boys. Cruyff first, Jarzinho and Puskas second, third, you can debate, Ginola fourth, Cafu fifth. I think we can all pretty much agree, right? Let me know in the comments, but I think the S tier is the one, the order that we're all going to agree on the most. You can debate Puskas, Jarzinho. I don't mind if you put either of them second or third, but otherwise first, fourth, and fifth are guaranteed in this row. I'd say El Owaran over Bobby Charlton also maybe cause some controversies there, but it's just because of how sweaty and how cheesy this card is if we're ranking them on how messy they are. Vidic looks fantastic. I was also kind of split between Vidic and Kaka. I've put Roberto Carlos second last and Berbatov last in the A tier, and I say last like it's a bad thing, but still in the A tier. And the fact that Berbatov is in the A tier whilst being only 150,000 coins tells you everything you need to know about how good of a value card this Berbatov is. We've got Park Ji-sung topping the B tier alongside Cordova, followed by Drogba and Xabi Alonso very closely. We've even got the likes of Koller, Okocha, Marquez and Harry Kewell. I did move Campbell ahead of Ashley Cole just because I think comparing Campbell to other centre backs and Ashley Cole to other left backs, I think Campbell is a better bang for your buck. We've got Vialli and then we have got Crouch in last. Crouch is just one of those players that is just meta and will pop up with a goal. I've got Lampard topping the C tier with Francescoli right behind him, Rosicky, Van Persie, then I've gone for Prince, and I've got Dempsey, and I don't want to put Dempsey in the D tier because I feel like no players here are actually D tier worthy, because I feel like if EA are releasing a D tier card at this stage of the game, then something's wrong. Team of the season isn't 2 weeks away. But I'm pretty happy with this tier list. If I do say so myself, let me know down below what you disagree with. It's the beauty of tier lists. People are going to disagree. Nobody is going to share the exact same opinion among 500, 1,000 people. So let me know down below what you would change, or do you think I got it pretty bang on? Until the next one, I'll see you guys later.